Hi, Aloysius here with Ricardo again.
How are you?
We'll be beginning the first round of the standard portion of this event.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited. I love standard. I love
Yeah.
everything about it at the moment. So you're gonna have to explain how most of it works to me because my love will just blind me.
So we have five rounds of unified standard now. So the it's slightly different from standard, the normal standard. The deck list, the total of the cards in the deck list must not have more than four copies of
Across
each
these three
card
decks. Yeah.
across the three decks. So they have to decide how to distribute the strong cards in the format. Obviously, standard is not a format in which there are a lot of cards available, so the power level of the decks in Team Stardom can be a little bit weaker, or we are going to see some decks that are different from normal standard. So
So what cards can we expect to be the difficult decisions when splitting across decks? Siege Rhino is an obvious card that some decks might want to consider.
I don't think that Siege Rhino is a card that is going to be considered for splitting because there's just one deck that
Has
is going
been,
to be
yeah.
to play that card. So obviously Abzan wants to play that card. I think that the consideration for the splitting that no wanting to split the cards are going to go over either the lands, the dual lands, or either to the cards like Lightning Strikes, Stoke the Flames, or um, the Courser of Crofix. Probably these are the cards that you don't want to split into two decks.
Yeah, sure. Sometimes cards are going to force themselves to be in one deck only, and you have to have all four, and that limits your choice on the other one.
Yeah.
The important thing here is what we're seeing Jason versus Isaac.
Yes.
Isaac's here on the left representing Team JP versus Gas Splash Matt with Jason. So,
Yeah,
a Temple of
uh,
Enlightenment to start things off.
we have again Team JP on our left here with Isaac playing again, and we see that there's a temple, a white blue temple on the right for Jason, and a, a green red dual lands
And it's
from Council Attack here.
pretty apparent that Isaac will be playing red green into this matchup, or for the rest of the standard
Yeah.
portion of the event.
Do you think that we have a Jeskai player on our right, or is it something that like a heroic deck?
I think we it might be blue white heroic would be my first instinct, considering the format you want to have the clear definition of a deck that doesn't rely on cards from other decks. So,
Perfect. We see Higher of the Wilds, the promo cards played from Isaac, but
so Jason here is actually going to be representing the New Zealand team in going to Worlds. So we can look forward to seeing him play on a much larger stage very soon.
very good.
This larger stage is, although not unknown to a lot of members on the Team JP side, as
Yeah.
was mentioned in the last one. Each player has been to the Pro Tour on multiple occasions. Jeremy Neiman having the best result of the three.
So yeah, we see now that they are actually Jason is actually in heroic, and he makes is a 3/3 flyers with prowess.
Yeah, and I guess we're just going to have to see if Isaac can make up enough size on his side of the board to really burn out his opponent and take this game.
Yeah.
We can see that he has multiple lightning strikes in hand, it looks like, and it seems that he's going to be red maging it up for a lot of this game. Just
There is a
looking at,
Kratos Claw coming. I think that he wants to use all of his mana and start attacking as well. So
yeah, obviously he needs to
he
sort of
wants,
get that extra life back that Jason's gained over these last turn.
yes, and also he wants to keep the Lightning Strike as an instant to answer some spells, so he can make a really ton of advantage when he's going to play one of the aura on a creature, and answering back with the Lightning Strike would be a really strong play.
And of course, the weakness here for Jason's deck is every aura has that risk of being 2 for 1. Of course, Stratus Walk
That's
draws
right.
itself a
That's
card and
right.
replaces itself, and trying to find the synergies in the deck to remove the natural weaknesses of auras is
Yeah,
important.
I think that there is a reason why Lightning Strike has a Lightning Bolt, and each spell that has burn on it is really strong when it's on instant speed. Just because it can answer stuff like the heroic deck is not really popular in standard at the moment, but I
But
think
it's
that
something that people knew was going to be played today.
yeah, I think
Uh,
that was one of the choice that people could play in this day for the unified standard, because as we were saying, you couldn't pick the cards. So once you play lightning strike in one deck, you cannot choose to play in another deck, so the viable options are really reduced. And anyway, this deck that we see played from Jason can be really, really aggressive and powerful and win the games in a really fast way.
yeah, it reminds us of the old hexproof decks that banned hexproof that was around a year or so ago. They had a couple of decent results where you
Yeah,
just sort of you force yourself to tron up a guy and go a little bit all in, and sometimes it can really work for you.
and we see that there is a Defiant Strike to draw another card, and
Aqueous form is being
Aqueous
attached
Form, yeah,
to Soldier of the Way.
Scry 1. We have a 5/4 flyers here attacking.
And it looks like Isaac's probably going to have to wear it unless he has a one red cost spell that I'm not aware of that could get him out of this situation. But
I don't think he's going to play anything at the moment. Um, Jeremy has one card in hand. The only card that he can be scared of is God's Willing at the moment, so he won't use his Lightning Strike in this moment.
no,
He
no,
cannot
and
play anyway.
we can see that Isaac here is a little short on lands, so it's limiting his options because he would have the ability to at least consider a double lightning strike and try and just
Sure.
get rid of the major threat that's holding him back here.
Yeah, we see Jason has two cards in hand. He follow with a land, gain one life, and shield back the turn to Isaac.
So Isaac's got a couple of turns to work out an answer here, and we'll see if he's oh, he's got a temple there, so he'll
Yeah,
at
we
least
have a
be able
fourth
to
land,
play a land
Tezzeret.
in a couple of turns, or rather play another spell in a couple of turns. A momentary destruction from a couple of small things, but his brought us back into the game, and
I think that anyway he's going to keep on attacking with is a Hero of the Wild because he cannot block the flyers in any case. So we see that he wants to,
yeah, he's just gonna
yeah, he's going to kill now trying to kill now the
soldier of the way,
Seeker of the
speaker of the way.
Way,
Yeah,
because he doesn't want to play on God's Willing in Jason's turn. Otherwise, he will give +1/+1 and lifelink as well. So if he has a God's Willing, he has to use it now, but at least he save one damage for the next turn.
yeah, like, having to get rid of it. Otherwise, it will just end the game. So,
Yeah, Isaac is on 10, he's on escape position. We see that there is no play from Jason to save his guy, and the temple will scry a card on from the top. See, he shifts
she's a
back.
Chandra.
I think that he's going to search for other lands from the top of his library, so
I
shifts
just don't
back
know how
whatever
much
is
Chandra
not.
does in this situation. Looking at the top card of the library isn't gonna like the zero ability isn't gonna do a lot for him, and the doing one damage isn't gonna help him with most of.
I think he wants to find the lands to make his deck work.
And obviously, as we can just saw then a moment ago, there's actually a Chandra already in Isaac's hand, so there's no
Yeah,
need to double down on the Planeswalker. But bringing in here,
he doesn't want to play yet, Chandra. We don't know if the list from the New Zealand player, if he's going to have the Sinful Stroke to in his deck, but I don't think it's a card that is going to be played main deck from this deck.
so as we can see, Jason chose to pay the tribute cost.
Yes,
The,
so we have a 4-4 for one turn, 4-4 with haste, but it will be a 3-3 from next turn. Here you are with a fifth land coming from the top. So probably Jason knows about the deck of Isaac, and he know
yeah,
that there is a Kratos Claw because he already saw one coming before,
and
and he doesn't want to give him a 4-4 to activate the Ferocious for Kratos Claw. So he choose to take 4 damages in one turn and risk a little bit. We see that he's now on 9. It will be really hard for him
yeah,
to
the
come back
Stormbreath
from.
Dragon here is really just
Yeah, it's already game probably,
I,
unless he plays Hand of Hostilities, but I don't think it's a card that an aggressive deck wants to play. Okay, we see uh, a tutor for the aura coming from M15, 1/2 for 3 mana, and you search for an aura, you reveal it, and you take it to your hand. We see Singing Bell Strike, probably to try to defend his life total, and
such a
probably he's going to go on the Stormbreath Dragon.
well, such a defensive play really at this point. You can sort of see that Jason sees the writing on the wall a bit here. It's he's in a difficult position,
Yeah, there's a he's attacking for 5 now. He's on 9. He's
and
considering if blocking, but there's a
yeah.
Kratos Claw from the hand, and see, okay,
So
you got this.
yeah,
We
uh,
go to the next game.
burn decks have that end the game now effect. So with that in mind,
We're going to see sideboard games here. What do you think it will come from the sideboard from these two decks?
I imagine Isaac's going to probably try and increase the amount of removal he has, just try and deal with those creatures before they get geared up with their auras.
Yeah,
Um, on the other hand, it's going to be difficult for Jason to deal with Isaac's deck, the biggest card of which is probably Stormbreath Dragon for him. That's
yeah,
that pro white.
he's talking about what to do with his teammates. Oh, we see that we are going to go to the other match,
So
and
this
we
is
have
Jeremy
Jeremy Neiman
and
against. We are not sure who's the player in the New Zealand team. We're going to discover it really, really soon.
but as we can see, we've got Abzan here playing against
Yeah, we have the Constellation deck. It's really good choice to bring the Constellation deck, in my opinion, because it can deal with Abzan, and it can deal also with the Heroic deck in a slightly good way.
and piloting the uh, deck on the left here. We have Matt of Gas Splash Matt. So when we're watching Jeremy play here, we can expect to see some very slow and methodical thought. It's always been my experience with Jeremy that you'll never get a fast game out of him, but rather you'll lose incredibly slowly. So with that in mind, we get to also watch as Matt tries to. Well, Matt's built a fantastic board there.
Yeah, we see the board from Matt is really awesome. I think this is game 1, so from the Abzan player there are no Doom Blast still on the deck, so yet on the deck. So it will be hard for him to come back
yeah, and
to this game.
Matt's
He's on 11
swinging
and
all in.
attacks with everything. There's also the Constellation card that make you draw the card, so um, the hand of the player on our left, Matt, was full of cards, and we saw there was also a Siege Rhino, so he's probably on an Abzan
Yeah,
Constellation
it would
deck.
seem that's the case.
So probably the choice of the players here, uh, probably the choice here for the players are going or either the normal Abzan or either the Abzan Constellation or the Black Green Constellation deck, because you can always have access only to one copy of the cards. But once you play a black deck, you are pretty much wanting to play the Todd season,
Yeah, of
so you
course.
cannot split the Todd season in two decks. So if you play Edson, you're not going to see another black deck in the team.
So in the middle table, which we haven't been able to see yet, we've got Sasha versus Dan, and if I remember correctly, Dan is playing a blue-white heroic deck, much like we saw Jason piloting earlier. And
Yes,
currently, Dan and Sasha are keeping a good pace and are already at 1-1, while the people on either side of them have only finished their first game.
it seems a really fast format. We have Isaac 1-0 against Jason. We already see the match. We have Matt 1-0
Against
against
Jeremy.
Jeremy, and we have Dan on 1-1 against Sasha Markovic. A really good team from the Australian,
Oh,
from
certainly.
the
On the reason we decided to show you guys this game is because each side of the table has a number of experienced players. Sasha Markovic has represented Australia before as part of the national team and has been playing the game at a high level for a very long time now. So,
yeah.
uh,
I remember that Matt was playing in the New Zealand team last year as well for the world competition. So he's a good player
yeah,
as well.
obviously.
So
So yeah,
really two
well,
strong teams that are battling each other for
yeah,
going to 4-0. So it would be a nice position for the team in win, the winning team to go to the top eight. Oh, we see that an update. Matt he qualified for the
worlds
New
this
Zealand
year.
team of the world this year as well. So he won a WMCQ. Very congratulations to him. Twice in a row. It's a really good achievement. Okay, we are back to the game. We see Isaac playing against Jason again. There is a trigger of heroic on the hoplite from Defiant Strike.
Which also gets to draw a card if I remember correctly.
Yes, and he attacks for 3. A good start, I'd say.
Well,
Having a 2-3 on turn 2,
the obvious thing
attacking
is
for
that
3.
a 2-3 doesn't really have 4 toughness, so we're going to expect Isaac to be able to remove it with great ease rather
There is
than.
always a white mana open for God's Willing. We don't know if he's going to play the strike now
Oh,
or he
certainly he
wants
may
a.
choose to hold it open and wait for the opponent's next
If he
combat
has
step.
a
Or
Hair of the Wild, he's going to play that. As we
yeah,
see, Hair of the Wild is a good defensive player as well because now Jason has to find another way to make damages, either to remove the Hair of the Wild or to give flying or protection to the creature.
and Ordeal of Thassa comes down,
Ortilo Dasa is going to draw him already 2 cards, a nice divination for 2 mana for him, and
plus a couple of
Panther.
counters on his hoplite.
We see a block,
Oh,
and he has protection. So remember that the heroic trigger on the creature gives protection from the. Okay, there is not protection, but
damage prevented.
yeah, damage is prevented. So it's not a trade. Isaac forgot about that,
Yeah,
and
and that
he just jump
momentary
blocked the
confusion.
creature.
Yeah,
He
but
lose he lost one of the best creatures to deal with any of the creatures in Jason's deck. So we see Rebel Master. He wants to go on the offensive now.
well, that's even if Matt's deck is a lot of small guys that you try and build up. Fundamentally, Isaac's deck is building up to a Stormbear's Dragon, but it does it by playing lots of small guys and trying to get that value early on as well.
Yeah, I think that the deck is quite aggro as well in Isaac deck because yes, Stormbear Dragon can take the game from the mid game on, but once you have the Rebel Master in your deck, that is going to win a lot of games as well if it's not dealt with. So we see a fetch land coming for the fourth land in in play for Jason. Any attacks? There is no. trigger yet, but obviously Isaac doesn't want to block and he wants to keep the Rebel Master to live in his board.
So as we watch Isaac here, we'll be dropping another.
Another Rebel Master.
Yeah.
Very good.
So really getting in there with those goblins seems to be the current plan.
Yeah, he has to attack with the Rebel Master as well, and the trigger would be that he has a 5/2 Rebel Master.
Seems
attacking.
Isaac's not 100% familiar with his own cards at this point. Just double checking its power there. And
Let's play.
it appears that
There is something probably that Jason wants to respond with
yeah,
from
Jason,
his attack.
yeah, obviously cracking the fetch line suggests that he has something going on.
Which kind of removal is Jason playing? What do you think? I'm
Uh,
not familiar with the deck list.
no, nor am I, and
Okay, there is
it's probably
a
just going to
block.
be a pump effect on.
Oh, there's a God Willings.
Yeah.
Okay, so he has protection. Oh, Defiant Strike.
So
No
just
God's
maybe
Willing.
trying to draw another answer. Shore him up.
Oh, probably he has just two.
Yeah, so
Oh,
just going
Fatal
to
Resistance. Okay, so there are three.
using heroic and the effects
Yeah,
of these
protection from
spells
red.
will.
So the Rebel Master is no longer for this war.
But obviously he still gets in with those goblins and
Yeah,
deals 3 damage.
3 damages, and there's a Nevish Mystic to follow. But now we have a really big creatures on the
Yeah,
board.
those 2+3 or those 2/3 on the dice are quite intimidating from Isaac's position. He's really got to um, find an answer soon. Otherwise,
Yeah,
he could be on to game 3.
those lightning strikes are no longer an option for to deal with the creatures that
No, I
Jason
imagine
has
they'll
on the
be going
board.
towards the Jason's face rather soon, and Isaac might just be trying to draw into a Stormdrift Dragon and use that pro white to hold him out for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think that the Abyss Mystic is just there to help
Yeah,
to cast a Stormbright Dagon and keep in defense while the tokens from the Rebel Master are taking on the game. See, Jason is thinking, but he's going probably to attack
yeah, it
because
would be surprising if he didn't press his board advantage here. He
yeah,
might have less creatures,
we
but
have
they're
to
much
consider
bigger.
anyway that the Rebel Master is going to be a 6/2 next turn. So if he attacks with a 6/2 and 3 token and 4 tokens, it will be 10 damages plus 1 from the Avish Mystic if he attacks, or maybe
Well, Isaac won't be blocking here. The Elvish Mystic, as we just saw momentarily
no, it
before,
doesn't.
there is in fact a Storm Breath in his hand at the
Yes,
moment. So
and with the Stormbred Dragon as well, Stormbred Dragon as well. If he's going to attack with that, we'll put um, Jason on 2 life points if he doesn't have any defensive play. So I'm thinking that there will be no blocks here from Isaac in this moment.
well, he also has to think that there's going to be another swing back after his Storm Breath, so maybe he'll take the damage this time, but next time hold back a couple of Goblin tokens and shore himself up defensively rather than going for the.
He cannot take the goblins back because for the Rebel Master's
Of course, yeah.
ability they must attack. So we see he take the damage and taps. Look what it is, and it's another Stormbred Dragon. So
The next couple of turns could be very
to
good
think
for.
if he wants to hold back one of the Stormbred Dragon and take the game next turn or attack now and put.
Well, the important thing again to remember about Storm Breath is that pro white, meaning that he can just sit on it and let it defend easily against either one of
Okay,
his
so
opponent's creatures.
we see he's going to go on attack phase, and he doesn't attack even with the Rebel Master, and he's going to play the Stormbred Dragon in defense.
And it appears.
Okay.
Yep.
We have a game winning. He's going to play Fatal Resistance on a creature and give him protection
From red to
from red and attack with everything.
Yeah. So that's
That's
means 1-1 in this game,
yeah.
and
We still have 1-1 on
Sasha and Dan.
and
Their
Sasha
game hasn't
Imarkovic,
finished yet.
and 1-0 still on the
Matt
Matt
versus
versus Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Are we going to go to another
I imagine we'll be cutting to
table?
Jeremy momentarily. And interesting thing about the team name here for Team JP, named for Canberra player Jean-Paul Kelly,
Okay,
who
why that choice?
because there was a time where Team JP would have consisted of John Paul Kelly, Jeremy Neiman, and Dan Unwin, but Isaac managed to guilt Dan and Jeremy into joining him. So,
Okay,
saying that he came to them months beforehand, the event was even mentioned. As his purview as the organizer of the event knew that it was coming
right.
and reminded them that they had in fact said they would do this months beforehand. So it resulted in the powerhouse team that we see before us, something of a big three that you would see in the NBA, likes of Cavaliers with Love, Irving, and LeBron at the moment.
Yeah, we see that the two Abs and Deck are back in action, and there is a Sorin with a vampire that is currently pumped to 3-2, but he didn't attack.
And
I
it
guess
seems
that
that Dan has taken the match against Asher, putting Team JP up one for the game, or match rather, and it now frees both Dan and Asher up to talk to their teammates on either side and really guide however they can.
okay, we see a Banishing Light taking care of Sorin, leaving behind the 2-2 Flyers. But he's going to make some damage then anyway.
So a common strategy going into a sealed event is to put the aggro deck in the middle, and you'll see that way that match will finish quicker, and they'll get to interact with their teammates sooner and really take advantage of the way that team events work. But as you'll notice here, Dan is playing the heroic deck while
Yes.
Isaac is playing the red-green aggro deck. The red-green deck typically seem to be a little bit faster. What brings that on here is that they wanted to take advantage of Dan's speed as a player. That he is perhaps up there with Wolfie Horrig in terms of the way he makes his opponents play as fast as himself and puts pressure for games to go quicker. With that in mind, you do not get that from Jeremy Neiman. So
Yeah.
Jeremy would be the obvious choice if you were to go based purely on skill on who to have in the middle. But due
Right.
to his speed of play, we don't really see that happening.
Okay, we see that Jeremy came back is Sorin with an erase, and he already made another vampire, and he followed up with Ajani, putting 3 plus one counter on the
2-2
the
flyer.
2-2 Flyers, and putting
Really just
down.
trying to get in there with that damage. I imagine his inevitable goal with the Johnny will be to gain 100 life so that he can have a ridiculously large life total with no real point to it other than.
Have you ever used the last
I don't
ability
think
from,
anybody has ever used the Johnny's last ability.
Yeah, I think that the +1 ability is really strong.
Oh,
Are
yeah.
really strong anyway. So if you have a creature, you're going to use the +3 counters. You can distribute for from 1 to 3 creatures, so it's really strong. And you can always use the other ability that is to basically look at the top 4 cards of your
Yeah.
library and look for another planeswalker or a creature.
So
So are really good.
the whip of Erebos here is really helping Matt stay in the game because even if he's just using Wayfinders, he's still going to gain a little bit of life from the attacks, and it gives attacking into typically bad situations a bit more value.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you have your Wayfarer guy at the graveyard, you can bring it back with the whip and get that effect right again. So
We see that the Wayfinder were trying to deal with Sorin. They both attacked Sorin, but one was eaten by the 2-2 Flyers.
So right now we'll be going back to the first game with
Isaac playing.
But again, we see Jeremy just keeping up the size of his creatures there. Or oh no, sorry, he's actually looking at the.
Yeah, he's going to look for creatures or planeswalker, and he found a really nice aspect from the top.
So this is sort of becoming a planeswalker control game here as
Yeah, now
Ajani,
it's going to
Soren, and
take
Elspeth take
a lot
control of the
of
game.
yeah.
Obviously, he'll be creating 3 soldier tokens, and I don't know how much longer this game's going to last. I imagine
It
it'll be
depends.
very difficult to get out of this situation.
It depends on the sideboard from Matt. We know that Abzan player usually have in the sideboard one or two um, end hostilities and maybe some Doom Blast as well. So we see that he's currently on 5 lands. If he has and then hostilities, it's a good moment to deal
Well,
with the creatures. But the
it deals with them
Planeswalker,
so momentarily, which is the issue.
yeah,
It's
the
Planeswalker's just going to keep generating creatures. If you kill, it doesn't matter if you kill all the 1/1s that Elspeth makes. The next turn there's going to be 3 more, and it's going to be one step closer to getting that emblem, which just ends a game. Every time it comes down, you'll have so many 1/1s already that
that is
it is one of
correct.
those few
We see
game-winning
that
emblems.
Matt has in hand one Banishing Light. Which one was the Planeswalker that you would have dealt with in that occasion?
I think it would have to be the Elspeth. The Ajani was obviously the weakest of the 3, and the Soren was on a lower number of
Um,
loyalty counters.
I don't know. I would have dealt probably also with Ajani because it can give you back the Planeswalker that are
Sure.
eaten from the Banishing Light. But maybe you are true. The advantage that the aspect gives you is just too much to leave it there.
And as we can see, we're back
Okay,
here
we're
with
back to the game.
Isaac and Jason, where
There's a Higher of the Wild attacking on a 0/4 creature, so pretty harmless for the moment.
yeah, we these games all seem to be going in a very similar direction at the start, and it's
Yeah,
these
Higher of the Wilds is always a good play. So we
eh,
see Ordeal of Tassa trying to attack,
and it
but there
looks
is
like
an
Isaac's
answer.
going to prevent. I imagine it's going to be happening. Yeah,
There is a
he's going to
Distracting
destroy,
Reveille on Ordeal of Tassa
which
before
will
attack, so
also deal a little damage to.
2 damages to Jason, but at least he doesn't have a +1/+1
No,
counter for the trigger of the ordeal.
and we can see that there's also a lightning strike and
It's pretty useless against a 1/5 creature,
no.
lightning strike, but probably the Higher of the Wilds is a better solution to deal with.
So Isaac's just drawing Elvish Mystic, which I imagine he'll play this turn and possibly keep up the lightning strike in case anything else gets played
I think
against him next
we are
turn.
going to see um, a God's Willing in this moment.
Yeah, you think so? Trying to deal with that big guy instead of.
He has to deal with the Higher of the Wilds in some kind of in some way sooner or later because he's a really good blocker. Oh wow, another play. It was not the God's Willing, but giving Undestructible to the +1/+1 and Undestructible. And now we have
Elvish Mystic's going to
a
come down,
2/6
and
against a lonely Elvish Mystic.
Isaac's hand contains God Willing and Lightning Strike. The Lightning Strike obviously he can play, so if his opponent does decide to play another creature, we can expect that Isaac won't let it live very long.
Do you think that Ajani's presence is coming from the sideboard of Jason, or is he playing
He's
in
at
the
a
main
main
deck?
deck instead. We're not. It's a difficult one to decide. Like it's one of those cards where you can have it in both main or side. So Jeremy, as we expected, kind of watching that game, did in fact win it. Those planeswalkers, I imagine, were just too
Yeah.
much for him to deal with.
And we have also an update from the middle table
Oh, we
where
already announced that. So with that in mind, we can imagine that Dan and Jeremy are both whispering in Isaac's ear at the moment, trying to guide him along this game, and obviously Sasha doing the same for his teammates.
they are at the moment the New Zealand team is in the back position. They have to win both of the games to take the 3 points
But in
and
all
go to
fairness,
the
this one is looking a little
undefeated.
rough. But
It seems
First,
like in this moment it's in a good position. Jason is in a good position.
yeah,
There is just
certainly
an
the
Elvish Mystic and 3 lands on.
missing land drops and valuable stronger creatures.
Okay, there is
4/2.
a 4/2 with Flash coming.
That'll, I guess, give him some size and possibly allow him to trade with the
He wants to
hoplite
attack
over
on
there.
the. He wants to be in the aggressive position now because he knows that it's the only way that he can get back to this game. Those creatures are going to attack anyway,
And I may
and
be wrong.
it would be a trade anyway with a hoplite. So better doing it now when Jason has less opportunities to not pump the creature and trade down
Yeah, sure.
his creature.
And
So we see
Isaac ended his turn playing a temple, which I believe revealed another temple to him, which as a
he
come
shipped
into play,
to the
yeah, put down the bottom so that doesn't lose any tempo and
yeah.
has to get a valuable card here, whether
Now
it be
now he
Storm
has
Breath or anything.
also the double red. So if he finds a Stone Breath on the top of his library, he can play and put it in defense while the Boon Satyr goes on the offensive.
So I believe Ordeal of Heliod coming down here, and
There is a trigger for heroic and the trigger for the ordeal. So we have a 4/4 attacking.
so as we can see, these heroic creatures really get very big very quickly, particularly with Ordeals getting them 2 counters at one point. It really does allow you to grow a board in a way that isn't typical. Often you would,
Okay, we see that there is a Higher of the Wild on Isaac's side, and as we were seeing before, Jason is a really smart player, and he kept his 2/6 on defense because the Boon Scyther can no longer attack. So he wanted to keep attacking with his Hoplite, and now he ships on attack also the 2/6.
as well as
He
gaming
gains
a small
10
amount of
life
life.
with your deal, and he has now a 5/5 and a 2/6 on the attack.
And this
Isaac is thinking about if blocking or not, and which creature to block.
well, Isaac being in top deck mode here really does put him in a very rough position.
Yeah,
Nobody
it's in
likes
a
being
rough
hellbent
position.
outside of the first Ravnica set. So
There are 2 cards in Jason's hand, and he didn't play a land in the last turn as well. So there's probably some trick coming from
on
Jason
Jason's
here.
side of the board, and obviously he knows that his opponent's not got anything up his sleeve, unless
Yeah,
he's
there is
literally
no
hidden a
cards.
card in his sleeve, which would be pretty suspicious. So
Just 1 block on the Hoplite. Fatal Resistance to gain 2 counters, Scry, and also not making his creatures die to Higher of the Wild. It's really good
yeah,
value.
I as we saw yesterday, it was in Wilfie's PTQ draft. Feat of Resistance is a very powerful
It's a
card.
really powerful cards. I've seen Wilfie's draft, and he chose to take Fatal Resistance over End Hostilities on a third pack. So a rough choice, I guess, because End Hostilities is a card that can really make
It's not a card he wants in his deck, but it's a card he doesn't want anyone else to play.
yeah, like he has a really aggressive deck that brought him to the finals and to defeat
Tim
all the
Hughes, Sasha, who we're seeing again play
yeah
here, and
Sasha Markovic. So a really good card, a really good deck. We saw that End Hostilities. There were 2 hand hostilities in the third pack. They were running around the table, and Sasha Markovic
picked up
picked them up.
fifth and seventh, I believe. He got
He
them.
got them at the third and fifth pick.
No, that's
It,
when Wolfie
it, w- no,
Wolfie saw them at third and fifth, and
Wilfie opened the end hostilities,
ah,
so he
yeah,
shipped
sure.
to Sasha that picked the third place and the fifth one, and the fifth pick was another end hostilities. So a really good gift for
Yeah,
him, but
absolutely.
they didn't help defeating the aggressive plays from Wilfie Horig.
Well, in the game they did play the second game. I believe he used both end hostilities and pulled out a win against Wilfie to bring it into the
Yeah,
third game
even
for that second round.
okay. We see we are back in action here. There is a Defiant Strike here,
And it really does seem that
throwing a card.
Jason's pulling ahead very far in front in this game, and shy of a Storm Breath.
Another Defiant Strike coming. I think he really wants to attack with that creature now.
I think he'll be attacking with both creatures, so that even if Isaac draws a Storm Breath next turn, he'll only have one defender, and it won't be enough. So unless he's got a removal spell in his
So we
hand
have
and can take away that Akroan Hoplite as well. Yeah, just a
Isaac
casual
trying
little
to.
false bluff there
He
to
wanted to bluff another satyr to enchant the other satyr, but it was just a bluff.
so
Oh, there is a mana confluence in Isaac hand. We
obviously Jason doesn't know this, and so
Yeah, but
Isaac was hoping
there is
to
a
bluff him
concession
into
from
there.
Isaac, and
So
we are now.
gonna go back to Matt and Jeremy.
Yeah, there
Uh,
is a. It's all.
it's all down to this last
It's all
game
up.
here.
Yeah,
Uh,
there will be an interesting game three there. I think they are already in the middle of the game. We
uh,
are going soon to see what's going on the board.
uh,
So we see the
Isaac showing his
the
sideboarding here,
sideboard
just lots of the removal that
destructed
we
a lot
expected,
of
and
cards
just
coming
yeah, the
from the
sideboard.
sideboard. Do you think that Isaac's deck just went too weak, became too weak on his strategy for all those cards coming from the sideboard, or he had to do that kind of choice to deal with Jeremy's plan,
Uh,
Jason's plan?
I believe he had to remove cards like Chandra aren't going to do in that matchup. And the Fnatic of Xenagos would have come out as well.
Yeah,
These are
true.
so there's a lot of cards that you do want to remove, and the Destructive Revel is obviously going to be powerful in that matchup, and more removal is going to be powerful in that matchup. So I imagine the large sideboard plan was intentional, knowing that Blue White Heroic is going to be a big part of this format, and
Okay.
following that up with knowing what cards to remove is very important.
Well, the Destructive Reveille is really powerful card,
Yeah, definitely. I
and
remember.
he can deal also with Banishing Light. Probably is the main reason why
Yeah.
the card is in the deck.
So Jeremy's attempting to stabilize here with the Sorin. Maybe first get a creature and then start
We
perhaps.
see that there is a Siege Rhino anyway on Matt's side, so if he wants, he can attack on Sorin and the trample with deal
Deal
with
lethal.
with both of them. But if the Rhino is going to attack on Sorin, probably we won't see a block
No,
from
I don't
JP.
imagine that
But
Jeremy
we
would
see
do that.
we see that Jeremy is on 8 life, so there is a really big possibility that the Siege Rhino,
We'll
yeah,
just attack the body directly and try and knock Jeremy out of the tournament
oh
and
no, we
win this
see
game.
now probably is going to attack Sorin because otherwise there's value from leaving there. There's too much value to leave there a Planeswalker on his own. So better leaving a 2/2 creature from for next turn, and that's it.
And it seems that yeah, he's going to use this Whip of Erebos as the Whip of Erebos here on the table really does make his board a lot more intimidating, knowing that not only can if you deal with the Siege Rhino, you have to deal with that 3 point drain again, but you have to deal with so there's no creatures currently in the graveyard of Matt. So with that in mind, we don't have to
Yeah, we
worry
see
about
that
the Whip of Erebos bringing something in, but we
as we were thinking before, he attacks the Sorin. No creatures in the graveyard, but if Jeremy finds a way to deal with a Siege Rhino that is not Abzan Charm. He's going to bring it back, gain 3 life, and drain 3 life, and then
Attack again with a
attack again with a
significantly
4/5.
large creature.
Okay, we see there is a 3/3 coming on the board.
And
Fleeceman Lion on the
with
board.
that in mind, it may be tempting considering he doesn't have enough mana at the moment to make his.
Oh wow, there
Well,
are 2 end hostilities.
so obviously Jeremy's just hoping to get that 5th land. He'll.
I take Elspeth as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't really care about end hostilities in this moment because you have the Siege Rhino.
With
and,
with Erebos, but more significantly than that
Erebos.
is the fact that he has 2.
Oh no, the Whip of Erebos was already exiled from Erase. We missed that action. I see that there is
Yeah, it would appear
the whip
that
in the exile zone. So an attack and double block. It kills the Fleeceman Lion, leaving a 2/2 flyers behind.
and with that in mind, Jeremy now has the most powerful creature on the board, but probably still won't want to attack considering the low life level he's got at the moment.
He
But
took another land. Why do you think he took a land? Like, yeah, he has to take the land. So, there is a Tossis that can deal dealt with the strong creatures in this format.
so both players here really relying on the top of their library. Jeremy's hand containing a End Hostilities and the Dragon Sorrow, I believe it is. Neg 2.
As Cry. Here's the 5th land.
And he's
Watch.
leaving it on top. So
So we see that
Jeremy's
he has
next
2
turn.
Cave of Coilos, so he has to take at least 1 damage from his land if he wants to use the
Well, at the moment, End Hostilities isn't
end hostility.
particularly beneficial considering he has the
it's not
largest
really bad.
creature.
If
The real
if
risk
he takes 1 damage
and an Abzan
from
Charm
that
here.
and 2 damage from the Abzan Charm because he chooses to draw 2 life, putting himself on 1 and getting back the turn. Oh, there is
There
a
it
Siege
is.
Rhino. Okay,
That's
so
gonna
3
really
lives back.
yeah, 3 life back in Jeremy's hands, and it also gives him a significantly larger creature than anything else on the board. It's really a
Yes.
powerful play for him, and with any luck he'll
The
get
problem is the top of the library from
Matt. Yeah, if
Matt,
he also
because-
gets a Siege Gang,
Yes.
Siege Rhino, it can definitely send him right back, and those Caves of Colia is going to be really dangerous for Jeremy, with him not wanting to go down to that 3-level thing to give his opponent a single card to top deck the win for. It's a very dangerous position.
So we see there is no play from Matt now. He has I believe he has
3 cards in hand.
4 cards in hand.
4
One of
cards.
those is a Banishing Light, but he doesn't want to exile the Siege Rhino because if there is another erase from Jeremy, it would be really bad for him putting Jeremy back on 7 life.
So Jeremy's going to increase the size of his board so that when he casts Dragon Sorrow, he doesn't have to worry about any creatures on his side of the table disappearing while the 2 Wayfinders
Very good play from
disappear.
him.
Definitely, it's going to really help him out in not having to worry as much about his opponent's position in general. Just even if they're only 1/2s, when you're on 4 life, 1/2s can get there in a couple of turns.
I believe he took 1 damage from one of his land, I think, to cast the Drowning Sorrow. Yes, so he's on 3 life. Okay, we see a really good defensive play. Another Hornet Queen. It's going to give 4.
And considering he's on 3 life and Hornet, he's obviously going to be playing End
And
Hostilities
hostility. He has to play that, otherwise it would be that
at the end of the
next
game.
turn. He knew that, so he had to attack anyway.
Fortunately, he doesn't have to worry about those caves burning him when he gets to use a colorless mana and having those 2 tri-lands sort of shoring up his mana base here. But fortunately for Jeremy, he did get those 2 creatures to attack in before having to worry about the Wrath, and Matt is down to just 8 life.
Okay, now there is a way to deal with the top deck.
Yeah,
Very strong cards. I think that is one of the defining cards in this standard.
it may be that
Standard.
Jeremy decides to use that second end hostilities right now and just do a 1-for-1, depending on what's on top of his library here. Just
He's
trying to stop
probably
his opponent gaining too much life, and
yeah.
didn't-
He probably has to use the end hostilities
and
unless he wants to wait another turn.
also
But
knowing that his
he
opponent has
knows the card that is in his
the other guy
top.
has an Abzan charm in his hand, so he
Doesn't
might.
help much against the Corsair or Crufix.
No, it would be
We see
surprising.
already advantage from it, attacking for 2. He goes on 1. He wants to see if he plays something else, but there is nothing coming, and now we are going to see.
The Abzan charm here, or
I think we are going to see end hostilities or another removal coming from the top. Yeah, and
yeah.
hostilities is the
Considering he knows his opponent has a Thoughtseize coming up next turn, he doesn't have to worry too much.
okay, a Corsair coming after that.
And
And
Jeremy
now he goes
probably
to,
won't be cracking that anytime soon, though. Oh,
there's
no.
another Corsair on top, so I don't think he wants to.
Yeah, that card's probably worth more in his hand than back in his library.
Yeah,
So,
Thoughtseize.
which
We
would
see
remove
what
his Abzan charm.
adds and charm. So if he has a play now, he's going to stay on the board.
And over the last few turns, Matt really has managed to gain some cards back in his hand.
Okay, so
And time has actually been called in this round, so we may end up going to a draw, and they're on turn 2 at the moment, as we can see from that blue die at the top of the screen indicating.
okay, we see there is Matt thinking on draw step after he drew the other Cursor of Crufix.
Which does mean that Jeremy, if this is turn 2, will only have turn
This is
4
turn-
after this.
This is turn 1 still. So Murderous Cut.
If it's only turn 1, then he may have
Murderous
gotten
Cut deals
there.
with one of the Corsair.
But this game may end up in a draw if neither player is able to really get the extra damage required. Yeah, so we're going to turn 3 now.
Yeah, turn 3.
So
there are 2 turns to find.
yeah, he
something
needs
from
to
the
get
top.
2 damage off the top of his library. And
Siege Rhino will deal.
obviously.
Will be good. I think there.
But Jeremy's just going to go on the defensive here, and I imagine play for a draw. Just really
Yeah.
let the next 2 turns dwindle away, play as many guys as he can. Obviously, he's got another creature on top of his library and can.
I think there is also a Siege Rhino on the graveyard of Matt. So if he finds another Whip of Erebos,
he is
he
able
can
to
take
play
it back.
and activate that whip in the same turn, considering
Yes.
how long this game has gone on.
So there is a Genesis Hydra on top of Jeremy's library, but it won't be that helpful in this moment unless I can find a Siege Rhino on top of it.
Well, the Hornet.
There is
Queen.
an Horn Queen that came from the top of the library that he drew thanks to his creature. And turn 4 now.
Yeah, considering he'll have the last turn to attack, this could really be it for Jeremy.
Yes, he's thinking about if cracking the
Fetch
the
land.
fetch land and try to find something else on top of his library. He has 2 life, so
He can.
he wouldn't really care much about losing 1 life. He would gain it back with a Cursor of Crufix
Yeah,
anyway,
immediately.
but it doesn't make much difference. Probably he's going to think about drawing a Doom Blast or another End Hostilities or something else. Now he goes to 3 life. Watch the top of his library. There is Sorin.
And we can see Dan there helping Jeremy out with plays going on. The most interesting and probably fun part of this entire format is just having your mate whisper in your ear the whole time and really try and work something out. Like,
What's the best play?
Yeah, much like when you're practicing back at
we
home
see.
and just working together. So obviously the Hydra coming down here.
X is for 8. So we see 8 cards from the top of the library coming.
And hostilities is in there as well. But just finding the permanents that he can.
I think that you can cast just creatures from.
Not the best 8 cards to see then, if it is in fact.
No, there is a planeswalker coming.
So he can
So
activate Soren's first ability to give his creatures +1 and high lifelink. So
so he can take. But I don't think he's
how large is a Hornet Queen on its own? Because he could attack with his Corsair
Hornet
of
Queen.
Crufix.
There's a Hornet Queen +4 other flyers, so it would be 6 damage.
That's a shame. That's not enough for the Corsair of
The
Crufix.
Corsair of Crufix will gain him 3 life, so it won't be enough.
And
We see that he has the Hydra to block the other creature, but it can be dealt with Vanishing
Vanishing
Light.
Light. And it
And I
looks
think
like
this
that
is
might
game
be.
at the last additional turn for Matt. Yeah, we see the concession. And
They're on that 5th turn.
hands.
Shame just getting. It's always frustrating when you lose on that last turn, isn't it? When you think you can just get there one more turn and you'll be alright.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Jeremy and the rest of Team JP, that didn't work out. But
We saw some good action anyway.
definitely. Like, the reason to watch this game or this matchup was because all 3 games were going to be something interesting to watch, and I feel that certainly delivered for us here.
There were a battle between really 2 strong teams, so one of the 2 had to win, one of the two has to lose. Yeah, we were really close to a draw, but at the last turn, the New Zealand player took the advantage and took also the 3 points, bringing his teammates to 4-0, a really good position
Yeah,
to be now.
definitely. Considering that this is Swiss +1 to cut to a top 4 at the end, you really do want to be. There's not as much opportunity to lose a game, really. And you want to really push these early wins. Anyone that didn't go 3-0 in the sealed is not expected to get that.
It would be hard. I mean, they have to win all the standard portion
Yeah.
and really hope to get inside and play again this night. Well, this is all for now. We are going to meet you again for round 5 in 15 minutes.
Yeah, sure. We'll see you really
later.
soon.
Thank you for your presence.